I talk about culture, 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 culture. Culture supersedes your education, your training, what you know you're supposed to do. Culture is everything. And so when we talk about culture, right, we have to look at our own culture. And when BET, owned by Paramount, owned by a bunch of non-black people, is saying, well, this is your culture, this is your culture. I say, oh, wait, no, stop. No, please stop that. Stop that, Mr. Whiteman. Stop telling me what my culture is, because you're telling me my culture is all about getting high, killing people, STDs and babies mamas. That's that sexy red shoot 'em up, bang bang, let's get high afterward nonsense. That's not my culture. Maybe that's yours, but that's not my culture. But then also, it looks like even white people had the same problem with their culture, right? That literally this lynching, this idea of taking your child out to watch you burn somebody alive and cut off their genitals was somehow a part of the culture. And this shows you this is something I've mentioned to you all before, and I want you to pay attention now. Remember, I told you all, does anybody remember when mentioned that the psychological studies show that 70% of all people will follow the crowd even when the crowd is wrong? Y'all remember that? 70% of all people will follow the crowd even if the crowd is wrong. Most people are not leaders. Most people are not thinkers. Most people don't have the courage nor the capability to think freely for themselves. So this hypnosis, this brainwashing is deep. It's heavy. You saw it during the pandemic. People will just follow the crowd. So here you have a clear example where white Americans, many of them, not all of them, there were some people who fought against this for sure, but you had millions of people who thought that it made sense to go and do something that Jeffrey Dahmer would make Jeffrey Dahmer blush. Seriously, I don't get that. That's how powerful culture is. So what I really would challenge you to do is, if you really want to live your best life and achieve and elevate and all these other things you're trying to do, get away from the culture. Break out of the culture. Best thing that ever happened to me in my life was when I wasn't disconnected to anybody's culture. I wasn't beholden to anybody's culture at all. I wasn't beholden to black culture. So the stuff that was stupid, I'd say that's stupid. I'm not doing that. The white culture, the stuff white folks were doing that didn't make sense. I'd be like, I'm not participating in that. That's dumb. Why would I do that? Right. And that frees you, that liberates you to think for yourself and to conclude what makes sense for you. Last example I'll give you before we read on is, I remember what the thing that impressed me the most. First time I ever talked to Ice Cube, he was one of my favorite rappers, but I did not know him as a human being. The thing that impressed me the most when he did his political thing, when he was trying to help out politically, which I appreciated, was first thing he said on the phone to me was, he said, "I'm not beholden to any group. I'm not doing this for any clique, any gang, any group, there's nobody controlling me. I'm independently doing this because this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do for my people." And I respected that, because what he was doing is he was taking all the shackles off, right? Because he probably has a lot of people that pull him in this direction and that direction. And well, you represent the West Coast, or you're part of this gang, and you part of this group, and you gotta be hobo. And he was basically saying, no, I'm not pledging allegiance to nothing except for the one goal. The one goal is to get black people what we deserve economically. He says, so I'm not beholden to any gang, any clique, any political party, none of that. I'm gonna do what's right. And I said, that's great. I love that. I love that. That's the language of a free black man. So really what I see here is that, similar to the way we get trapped by culture, it sounds like a lot of white folks got trapped by culture, because I can't imagine that you could participate in something like this and not at some point feel a little bit of guilt or hypocrisy. You're a Christian. You're going to church every Sunday, praying to Jesus. You're